All right, so I am trying to get this started on my new computer. So give me 1 minute, let some people roll in here. Studio, nope, dashboard. Here we go. That's an old one. Let's see. Chat. Tools. View. All right. Settings. Let me know. All right. If I go to my channel. Let's see. All right, it's been a minute since I've done this, so I'm just letting some people roll in, and then we'll go from there. YouTube's cancel. So I should have, yeah, start stream. Let's go. Okay, current view. Hello, 11 people. Chat rate. Let's see how actually get the chat back open. Sorry, I just set OBS on the new computer again for the first time, so give me a minute for a few people to roll in and find where the chat button is. Where'd it go? Chat. There we are. All right. Wow. Okay. All good. Cool. All sounds good. Looks good. Hey, Matt. Hey. I'm sorry. Oh, Tracy's cool. Hi. How you doing, Libby? Hello. Oh, and Larry. Great. Man, all my friends. And Kevin. Hey. All right. So back in the studio, I've got my new printer behind me that is still not set up for the custom ink set yet. So still running the color with the normal, actually it's not the normal, it's got the commercial printer in there. So I'm just gonna pop back to my screen for a minute. So I'm gonna let this roll down. I'm gonna check out the chat, but I just wanna see how many people here wanna see digital negative stuff and how many people wanna see positive inkjet printing stuff. I'm kind of assuming mostly digital negatives. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do. I'll explain the differences between the Tirage DN app and the new QuadToneProfiler DN, and then show you some example prints and a little bit of a workflow stuff. So let me just pop back to my computer and find the new software, and I'll get that rolling in a second. I might have to pull it on the other computer real quick. Developer. Just have to connect to it 1 second. Yeah, I'm not looking at the screen yet. Give me a couple more minutes to get everything dialed in. Okay. I had to get my real ID this morning. That was fun, going to the New Jersey DMV. Let's see. We need developer. So I'm a little bit behind here. Going to New Mexico on Wednesday, and that's a little bit why all this stuff is coming out right now. Kind of like early release, because I'm not going to have stuff to test on. So all my testing is done, and there's something I just finished a couple nights ago that I have one more test to do, and after that it is, where's my developer stuff? Okay, we have releases. It's going to open up a lot more stuff for people. Kind of fill in some gaps that have been left behind from some companies that kind of went away. But I'll get more into that kind of maybe early next week once I do this last bit of testing. Okay, let me pop back to OBS for a second and look at the chat while that's, oh, here we go. Releases. I just built one more update. That's what, I made one more fix on something. So I just built that, 10 minutes ago, of course. So, come on, computer. Let me look back at OBS for a second. Can I re-release Platine? I don't have the power. Both positives. Yeah, Tracy, I know you're positive. We'll get there. The stuff I built for the QuadToneRIP. All right, my computer is not showing me these things. Let's see if it's in iCloud already. iCloud. No, not yet. Yeah, I'm sorry. Why is this not showing up? Because that's how it is when we do demos. All right. How do I do this? Do I have it in here already? I don't know if I do. Because I have two computers. One's a development computer and one's my main like editing computer where the OBS is. So I don't think I actually put it on this computer yet, did I? Yeah, I didn't. All right. Sorry. Give me 1 second to switch computers. This is annoying. Okay, we're just gonna sneaker net this shit. Oops, sorry, stuff. We're gonna sneaker net this stuff. Done. Switch back. All right. Huh. It doesn't want to show up at all. Hard drives are not working. All right. I'm glad the beer store is right next door. I might go get a beer while this... no, I'm kidding. Come on, Extreme. There we go. All right, we're in business. Why is my Finder so slow? This is the weirdest thing. It is not showing me this folder that I just moved in. It shows me this. Can I do this? No. All right. I'm going to have to do... Ugh, this is so annoying. Sorry, everybody. All right. Yeah. What is up with my computer, everybody? Can I fix my own computer? All right. Jesus. Open. Is there anything in this folder? Hey, nope, 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 come on. All right, I'm gonna quit. Yeah, I don't know what is up here. This is bad. Okay, let's see if I can even just like download my own software. How about that? Okay, okay. Look at this. I have a download leak. Oops. C, not V. All right, well, we'll do it this way. Yeah, I don't know if, I think my internet might be a little bit borked because like nothing is showing up in iCloud or downloads. All right. I wish I had like some elevator music for y'all. All right, I'm gonna end it. Sorry, but let me like end this, or I don't know what to do here. This sucks. I'm gonna switch computers one more time and see if I can like fix this for real. Because I can't even like download stuff from my site. So, can I network into my other computer? Let's plug in Ethernet. Yeah, I think I might do that, Matt. That's annoying. Yeah. Thing is, I'm not sure if I can. Okay, if I stop this stream, let's try this. Will it remember all this stuff? Good question. Let's just try this. I'm going to get into my computer. I'm in Ethernet now. Documents. Yeah, it does not show me the stuff in these folders. All right. Hang tight. Okay. How's that? I'm back. She shanties. I don't know any she I can't even say she. See? Can't even say she shanties. Whew. All right. Do you want to see some software? Get this computer out of the way. Let's get, all right, we have an app. Let me switch over. Now we're on my desktop. Oh, you can see all my messages. Not that. Because Mac OS says, hey, why don't you see all your stuff that you just had open? All right. We got it. Okay. Desktop. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Hey, all right. Let me move this out of the way. I can see chat. Great. Cool. Okay. So we're going to look at the Tirage app. So Tirage means print, right? So we're going to print digital negatives. I have QuadToneProfiler, which, you know, is still cool. I love QuadToneRIP. Never going to leave. But I know a lot of people don't have QuadToneRIP, and they would love to use my digital negative software. So I made a special version just for y'all. And we're going to call it Tirage because when you go to APAD or Paris Photo and you see a print on the wall that says Tirage Argentique, and you're like, ooh, that's a silver print. I love it. So that's what I need in my new software. So I'm gonna have 3 new things. There's the 3 QuadTone profilers, the digital negative, basic version. There's the Pro one for like the Pro printers or like the custom ink sets that allows you to build the things from scratch, like from your ink calibration images, like these bad boys, where you have to partition your gray ramps all by yourself. So I made a new version of that. So, there's not to go into all the backstory, but the version 2 of QuadToneProfiler Pro DN, that was based on like the original code base from 2018. Then 2023, 24, I rewrote everything from scratch and combined all the code bases. But there was something really cool I was working on that just couldn't make it into the Pro apps until this year. I've been working on it for about 2 years now. One of the features, probably 5 or 6 years. But now all the code bases are aligned. So the same linearization is in the Pro app, the DN app, and the Tirage app. So what that allowed me to do is make this new Tirage DN so we can target any printer. I don't care what driver you're using. I don't care what printer you're using anymore. And by doing that, I wanted to make sure that you could print from the app too, because I know one of the problems that I personally have with all of the methods where you're applying your correction curves to your image in Photoshop and then going out and printing them or applying a color overlay is there's no consideration over what color space people are using or what color space the color overlay they're using is going into their picture. So by me controlling the printing, I can throw on an image. Let's do this. Throw on a test image. So in here we have a test chart. And what I like now is this guy. So it kind of doesn't matter what, okay, let's go back a little bit more. So when I'm teaching workshops, one of the first things I do is I go to Photoshop. So let's do that. Let's go to Photoshop. And I tell people to go to their color settings. And more often than not, if they're using black and white, their color space, let's just do this. Edit, we're going to color spaces, color settings. Let's do default. Boom. Oh, come on. Usually, most people are in dot gain 20. That's what you see. If you go to print a digital negative and you've been editing in dot gain 20, it's going to look different. Like, that's the way it is. So I'll always go say gray gamma 2.2. Okay. So what we've done here is I've taken whatever color space you're using and I'm putting in my print layout and I'm converting it so that it looks correct at whatever you did in Photoshop. Like if it was tagged at gray gamma 1.8, I'm going to switch it to gray gamma 2.2 and do all of the inversion and corrections in that one working color space so everything's consistent. A little bit of like color math nerding out, but I hope this just solves a lot of problems for people. So we have a cool new print layout. You can duplicate these things. So, I love Roy and Print Tool, but sometimes you want to do more things like you throw a black border on something. Maybe you want to select 2 images at once and drag them both around, or put them in the middle this way, or have like different margins on them, or put a per image label. And you want that to flip back and forth so you're not typing into text boxes. So once I started laying out this print layout thing, I started in probably 2023. I just kind of went to town on it. So we're going to move these things out of here. So that's like the print layout. There's a lot of stuff in here. So we're on Tirage DN now. If we're in the QuadToneProfiler apps, you will not see the Epson printers in here. You'll only see your quad printers. Because if you're using QuadToneRIP, why should you have to, like if we're in Print Tool, we've got all these printers in here. But I only want to be using my quad printers. So what I'm doing in the print layout is if we're in the QuadToneProfiler apps, you'll only see your quad printers. But we're in Tirage, so that's what we're going to look at. So there's a couple things in here. We have the print layout, which we're going to need. And we have the calibration. So we have that window here. So calibration is still just linearization, right? We need some measurements, and we can throw on an image to look at. So I don't want to look at an image right now, but there's an image layout, and you'll show you the soft proofs and corrected and all that. So how do we get an image to print? We go to load test chart. I'm going to show you that one. So these guys are the same. This just has a 16 gray ramp at the top, 51 across the edges, and 86 by 3 in the middle. So what we're able to do here is resize this. We'll print this as a negative, and I'm not going to go in the darkroom right now. I've already done that. But we're going to get a negative of this. We're going to print it in the darkroom, and we're going to take a picture of it. And I've already done that too. Or we're going to scan it. So one thing we haven't really kind of talked about in the, let me look at the chat real quick. Cool. Is like how much density you need. That is going to be up to you. So what I've done, I don't have a Canon printer yet. That should be here when I get back from New Mexico in a couple weeks. But what we'll do is you can like load on just a normal 21-step gray ramp, and we'll remove this for a minute. So the cool thing is like you can select it and just hit delete. Let's take off this margin and that black border, and we can make this that big. And so we're just going to print it as a negative with no profile. And what I would have you do is like go to your, whatever your favorite printer is, and you hit print, go to your settings. So if I'm using, like if you have a new Epson that doesn't have QuadToneRIP availability, like the 9750 or whatever those are, or if you just don't want to use QuadToneRIP, you can go to your printer settings, and I like to use advanced black and white for these things. And I do the best resolution, do sepia, and in the color settings, we drag the brightness and the contrast down, make sure we're not clipping our inks. We put it at the darkest, and I like 10 and 30. So what this does is at the driver level, we're reducing the contrast of the negative and the brightness. We're trying to, because if you just print, with these things set as 0, your print's gonna be way too dark. So by dragging these both down this way, we get a much darker starting negative. So we're gonna have a lighter print. So I put it on the darkest tone. We shift it a little yellow for UV blocking. And then we say, okay, here, and we go to advanced media control. If you're doing like a normal palladium print, putting the ink load at 0 might not give you enough blocking density. So you can just do like plus 15% ink load. That's going to lift or put more ink into your, would be the highlights of your print to get a cleaner white. So you might need to do a couple tests. If you're cyanotype, I would just leave it at 0, and we'll just correct for it in the linearization. Like you don't need that much with cyanotype. Palladium or salt, like maybe you want 25% extra with salt prints. So I would do that rather than a color overlay. I have feelings about color overlays. You've taken your entire grayscale, right, of your image, and you compressed it to one tiny little bit of color. And if you look at the histogram, you have this nice, beautiful histogram, and then boop, it all gets shrunk down because you have taken all your RGB values and moved them into one very narrow range of a hue. So I'd rather use for most good printers now, you have plenty of density in your black and white mode. You're going to have the ability to throw in some color with the toning controls. So I'd rather people use the density to get more physical ink on the printer and have that and keep that full range rather than trying to compress it with the tonal or color tonal scale or a color range. So we'll say okay there. So you might need to do like a blocking test where you print one strip at 0%, another at +10, another +20, and figure out how much white or how much ink you need to get your clear white in the first like 1 or 2 patches. What this is the normal grayscale. I'm not doing like the blocking ramp like we do with QTR. So I'd print that, and that becomes your you print, like you cut some strips off of it. So you throw it in your printer, you print one thing at 5%, you cut it off, put it back into the printer, because the newer printers, like they don't like things sticking here. You could, I guess, put it at the very bottom like this. Catch this. So you put it at the bottom, and you print it, and then what I do is I duplicate it, and then you remove the bottom one, and then you print it again with another bump in your ink density. And you kind of need to do this once maybe. Have one negative like this that has like 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Doing 10s, save some time. It's like 0, 10, 20, 30. That's probably all you need. And then just print that in the darkroom. If you're going to do a cyanotype, pull that negative out, print it at your exposure time to figure out how much extra density you need. Same with like palladium or whatever else you're using. And then we need to do we're not going to look at that yet. Then we need to do our calibration. So let me remove this. I'll add the test chart. So this, wrong one. This one. So this has like a nice smooth gradient at the top rather than those 16 patches. So it doesn't need to be that big. We have rulers on here too, so you can line it up. So like if you have the P800 or 700 or 900, it has to be 1 inch from the top, or else. Well, actually, ooh, cool. We're not using QuadToneRIP. It could be right at the top. If we're using advanced black and white, it could be anywhere up in here. That makes you a little easier. So I still prefer 1 inch. Just I don't know, it's a habit. I like to have a little bit of a handling room there. So we'll print that with whatever we have in our advanced black and white mode, or whatever Canon you're using, whatever mode that is. Same print. There it goes. So it's preparing, and now it's ready. Okay, so we go to printer options, printer settings. Of course, I hit cancel, so none of this stuff stuck. I'm not actually going to print this, but you get the idea. We want to do like warm or sepia, advanced color, bring these down, and we're going to make a preset of this. Okay, and let's do advanced media control. We'll put like an extra 15% in there. Okay, and now this becomes a preset. And it's going to be only this printer, right? It's not going to be a job preset. It's going to be a printer preset. So we say platinum palladium plus 15%. Done. Okay, and I'll hit print. It's going to send it to the thing. Oh, I actually have the printer plugged into the other computer, so I don't need to worry. So we're going to make a print of that. And what I'll do here is go to the Finder. Hopefully Finder works this time. Go to my measurement data. We have digital negatives. And I already scanned it. So now we need to do our calibration. So we have this scan target reader. This is also in the QuadToneProfiler apps. So all this stuff is consistent, and we need to open our scanned image. And I got to do it again. So you see I put the contrast -25, brightness -25, and the X and Y for the color from advanced black and white. And there it is. So this is just straight off the flatbed without any correction to it. So what we need to do is calibrate to these known values at the top, and this gives you some instructions. So it's going to say draw a sample around this square or inside the square like this. So we just click and drag, and it gives you what it actually read and what it should be. So we do that for the M patch. I'm doing this fast because I've done it so many times, but draw a rectangle inside the black patch next. That's going to be 19. So it gives you all of the measurements. So it came in as 12, it should be 10. So we apply a calibration. So if you want, you could save this as a new scan. Like it's already been corrected. You don't have to go through the calibration step again. Also helpful if you want to just scan a print and correct it real quick for this. I'll show you that in a minute. But we're going to actually get the measurements from this. So we say continue. So if we have this point sample, we can drag around and see the different densities down in the ramp here. So now our sample lab of that A patch is 95, right? That's kind of what it calibrated to. 19 should be pretty close to 10. There's some reflectance in there. There's 10. So what we really want though is to do this automatically. So this should have this like better instructions at the moment, but 18 by 18. So we just type that in and say okay. And we click on the top and we drag down. And you can hold the space bar like you can with like a regular selection thing to reposition, and then off the space bar and let go. So it's going to get 324 steps. So it's going to think that there are 16 steps up here on this gray ramp. So it's just going to average spaces there. But what it's really going to do is just get the middle. We say okay, and there it is. So we have all our measurements. And inside the app, that's why I baked in these test targets to the app, is a lookup table for where all these patches and the values are. So in these 256 steps, it's getting, so you can actually have, okay, what's 85 times 3 is 255. Sorry, 85 times 3, 255. So you can have 3 sets of 85 step targets inside this one grid. And then we can average those 3. And if we randomize it, then we're averaging values from different parts of the image so that if there's any coding inconsistency, or if you're doing gravure, if you're doing like a direct-to-plate or even like a 2-step gravure, any wiping inconsistencies across your plate are going to be averaged out. So we hit save. It gives you the SMT for scanner measurement tool. I'm going to say V2 and save it. And it automatically asks you if you can open the linearization screen. Yes, please. So it's going to give you some text here. It says it has 324 patches because that's including the 51 step around it and the 16 step at the top. So you always want to read this as a calibration target. And now here it gives you some information about, it used the 86 steps in the middle, and it gives you the graph. The border ring, that's the 51 steps, and the top ramp. So it's just telling you like the differences from what the middle patch is and what the surrounding is, so that it's going to tell you if there's any problems like with your coding or your exposure, or and so that's what all this stuff down here is. And I just ignore it. And then we smooth it, right? So there is those inconsistencies from coding, probably, splashed a little bit more on one side because I was in a hurry. So you just smooth that out. So the maximum smoothing value is 43, which is half of the total number of points. The default, I think, is, 8, 16 or something like this. It's like 1/8 of the number of points. So somewhere in there. But what we're looking for is nice smooth ramp between the dots. And I'm not looking at the chat, so let me pop back here. Matt, I'm using ViewScan for the flatbed. I'll get that. Maybe I'll get that later, but I have a whole video on ViewScan, so I'll put that in there. Cool. So we have Linear Lab. Did I connect this? No, I didn't, so it crashes. Sorry. Oh, you know what? Something's cool? I did crash reporting now. Yep, see? Reopen. Don't check. We'll try that again. So I just didn't connect that manual thing. So it's going to do, okay, cool. So I just smoothed it a little bit. So it got rid of those bumps. If you want, now we can throw an image in here. So let's see, I have a TIFF sitting on the desktop someplace. Yeah, we'll just throw one of these for an example. So here's the original. This is what it would be with the corrected densities. That's what was measured. So we can actually do this too. We can say show all patches. It gives you the value on each of them. So that's what was actually measured. This is what it comes out as. So it's a corrected, measured, and then a soft proof. So if we say simulate Dmax, that's like the soft proof. See no change. Measured says, oh, it printed too dark. And that's what we see here. The green line is our target. The red is what we actually got. And those little, or the red is the smooth ones. And these little dots are the actual measurements. So there's like the errors that are in there. So if you have some really bad flyers, you can like click it and drag it down. But generally I just do the smoothing. So cool. Now, how do we actually apply that to our image, right? So this is going to default to this TDN correction curve and soft proof file. That's tirage digital negative, right? It has all the other stuff in here too. But we're going to do this one. Save, cool. And I'm just going to keep the whole file name on there. And it's going to go into this profiles folder. So that's in application support, the name of the app, and profiles. Cool, we're done with this. Now we can go print. So let's just load on a test target first. So we can do like the torture test, and maybe we'll load like a 21-step ramp. And let's auto arrange these. Okay, so it loads on a positive first. And okay, this one's flipped because I flipped it in Photoshop and I forgot that my app does it now. But we need to actually apply that curve to it, right? So we have that new one we just made. And we're going to apply it to both of them. Okay. Nothing changes because we're still in positive mode. But here's our uncorrected negative, and there's our corrected negative. So this TDN file carries, let's do this. I'll show you file. Oh no, it's here. Say manage library. So this carries the measurements. There are our final linearized measurements that we actually want to hit, and it carries the correction curve. And then in here, that's what applies it to the negative. So there's our uncorrected negative, our corrected negative, and then we do soft proof. So it's getting the same ramp from here and showing you what that's going to look like in your final print. So so it's actually going to print our negative looking like this, and it's going to end up looking like that. So this red line that you see on the outside, that's saying you've clipped your image. So that's what that is. So since we have a soft proof, let's throw an actual image on here. Let's see. 200 megabytes, that'll work. So this is the cool thing. This is like why I wanted to integrate printing into the app. Is like you don't need to have, we have to assign the profile. So we'll do this. So there's what it's going to look like. Let me make this smaller, like 4 inches. This one. Okay. And we can just arrange these as needed. But this is just an example. If I was making a real negative, I would like arrange these nicely. But the idea is you don't have to have multiple versions of your image. You don't have to flip it and invert it in Photoshop and then go to whatever application you want to use to print it. You just have one image now. It's been corrected for screen. You put the linear curve on it, and if you need to do anything else to it, let's say you wanted to, okay, like positive soft proof, it's looking a little flat. You go here, and now we can have a soft proof, and we can apply a little bit of a correction curve, not correction curve, but a contrast curve, shadow compression, to that image. You can do like a hold down the Option key and drag the levels to find your black point. So if you wanted more a rich black in there, you can do that. That might darken your midtones too much, so you can drag your gamma. I just do it this way, 1.09. And then you have a before and after. So it's going to map your Dmax to whatever it was. So we're not actually going to get more contrast. We're just going to change the contrast between your highlight and your midpoint. I'm sorry, your shadow point. You also have, like, you know, you want to brighten the shadows, you can bump those. Sorry, your highlights. I wouldn't use contrast. That's a little too extreme, but it's in there. Same with brightness. I would not do that. Yeah, so there's negative 20 or 0.25. You really want to be, yeah, see, you just blow out your highlights. Boop, stay at 1. But it's in there, you know, if you have a really extreme adjustment. Let me look back at the chat for a second. Can you click and drag in the, ooh, Scrubby slider? Not yet. That's a good idea, though. No, it gives you a readout, though. So your original K value and what it came out to. That's a good point. I should do that. Okay, well, we're going to do that later. So before and after, I like it. And now that applies to the image. If you want, you can save it. You can actually save that out as the tile. But here we just go and hit print. Now, if we did this right, so it's preparing the images. So it has to rescale everything to what's printable. And for options, for settings, it doesn't remember. Okay, this is Apple for you. So we go to presets and we throw on our preset. Now we double check because good. Okay. Good. So we'd run that print. So let me show you what I actually got. Is it in here? So, oh yeah, haha. The other thing, check this out. So, hang on, let me go back to OBS for a second. Look at the chat. What if you have a spider? You just click like normal. So, I grab a spider and grab the thing. Let's see if I have spider in here. Yeah, cool. So if you have a spider print, I would do maybe the 51 step. I wouldn't scan the whole thing. So let's go back to the layout mode here. So let's clear everything. You select it with the rubber band and hit delete. And I would do, that's the Allen Pro 3. You don't want that one. I would just do the normal 21 step. I would just print this. You could, if you really wanted, print the 128. But really, if you have a spider print, I would print this probably. Maybe throw a 21 on the bottom too. And do this. Come on. I would do something like that probably. Because this, you know, clicking and moving, it's a pain with the spider print. So I basically never used it anymore. But I would just do the bottom one, the 21. And this is like with the 128, what you're really doing is just visually checking where your highlights are falling off, where your shadows are falling off. So your highlights up here. Seeing how much information you're getting in this last row. But I would probably just linearize off the bottom. I would not, you know, I know like Bill Schwab's videos, he had people cutting the strips. Your contrast is going to change way too much from the first step to the last step. And that's why there's multiple iterations on linearizing that. Like, I'm just doing this in one because whatever I'm calibrating to is the same way I'm printing. And, there's really no need to do multiple linearizations if you are consistent. So I would do that. Let me swap back to the OBS. Any more chats? Yeah, so if you're a spider, covered that. Let's see. If you're doing i1 Pro, same thing. Like, that's what I usually use. Most of the time I'm just in a hurry now and I'm using the scanner. Like, it's much faster to throw it on the scanner and get it in there. The measurements are like basically identical because we're calibrating to that Q13 target. But let me show you. So give me a second to swap back to OBS. Glenn, where'd you go? Okay, so I'm going to throw my camera for a second here. Just because I need to go to my photos library for a second, and I don't want my kids' stuff on the internet. Photos. Although, like, man, what a good picture. Okay. I'll export. So I'm going to get, wrong measurement data. A picture of that same target I just showed you in the scanner measurement, or the target reader, but one that I took with my phone, just on the light board over, or not the light board, but the viewing lights. Okay. Oh, I want to close this. Cool. There it is. Oh, we had to convert this to a JPEG. Export to a JPEG. Okay. And cool. All right, so we have that. Close this layout. Okay, fine. Oh, no, I don't. Okay, I'm not going to do anything with Spider now, but that's the idea. Just like you would normally measure, as long as you have a measurement file, light to dark, even randomize, it'll unsort it for you. But what I'll show you here is the target reader again. So we're going to open that JPEG from the phone this time. We have skew correction too. So if this was like a little bit wonky there, you press the auto skew correction and then click on the first corner, top left, or sorry, top right, I'm dyslexic. Bottom right and bottom left, boop, and apply. And it'll do the warp for you. So now we do the same thing. We have to calibrate to this. Apple has, so I'm going to get to it, but Apple has their own tone curve that they put on all the pictures. So we'll just kind of show you what we're calibrating to. And so we say, okay. We get the M patch. So this is working exactly like the step wedge tool in Photoshop, like Roy's Photoshop script for this. I wanted to make sure they were compatible, so the measurements from one would be the similar to the other. So I'm not calibrating to every single step here. I'm only doing the M patch. So there, we have our calibration. We continue that, and now we do the same thing. We go automatic, 18 by 18. We can drag it, get it lined up perfectly, and you see how that warp filter, or sorry, it's the perspective control gets that dialed in for you. We say this, now we say phone. Let's do this. So it looks like a calibration target because it is. So now here's where it's, see, I'll show you in a second, but it's going to tell you there's a lot more difference here because, you know, I don't have a perfectly even like lighting setup. It's just the thing on the board there. I'll say, okay. So you have some weird measurements here, but those just smooth right out. But you see how we have some more outliers now? That's because it's from the phone. It's further away. Their white point is actually lower because I'm not exaggerating it's getting more shadows in the in these white patches here. There's like more paper texture because of, you know, there's like some ripples. You see the shadow of the paper is a little uneven, but because all these patches are randomized, go back to linearization, it's the same shape of the curve. It's just everything's shifted down a little bit. But that kind of doesn't matter for we're doing. But let's see, let's scroll to the top. There's a little bit of a blip there. So it goes 94, 91, 93. So I would double click this and make it 93. Maybe 94. Just because it's right on the top there. Okay, cool. Now we're going to save this again. Oops, I want to cancel. I want to save it the same name as that measurement file. And then we go to printing again. Cool, we'll throw in this one. We'll assign that profile. Oh, let's do it this way. Hang on. We'll load the torture test actually, and we'll duplicate it. So on one, we're going to have the actual measurements that we did from the scanner. And this one, we're going to do the one from the phone. So top is the actual measurements, bottom is, okay, we do auto arrange. So the cool thing, like, is it cool? It's like how you think the Mac should work. Like you press the shift key and you click on one, shift on the other, and now you have them both. And you can auto arrange them. Or you can drag them both around. So, you know, print tool is great, but this just, you know, so if you do that, it actually centers them both in the same place. It's not what we want. There. Cool. So top one gives you the thing that's from the scanner, the bottom's from the phone. Okay, let's do this, 1-to-1. Oh, it doesn't scroll. Huh, cool. You have to actually use the scroll bars because I have a scrolly mouse. So, okay. You see a little bit of stepping, but this is also a low res. It's like a 1600 pixel preview. So the actual one we're printing is 728 pixels per inch floating around off screen. But if we do print size, you can kind of see now that the iPhone one has everything bumped down a little bit. So it has a little bit more shadow compression from the start. And your values are a little bit lower than they actually would be in your final print, just because even though we're calibrating to this step here, the iPhone's still throwing in some shadow compression in that range of the scale. If you have a camera that you're doing like a raw capture with much more even lighting, you can export that as like an unmodified TIFF, and it'll calibrate much better for you. Chat, let's see how it's going over here. Oh, so yeah, if you have like the like measurement distometer, you need to open just a text file. So you like go to text edit, or my favorite. So you would type in density at the top, density, and then start on white. So 1.0, whatever it is, each one on a next line. So I don't know if I have, like, if I can find one fast enough from one of those, but you just list them in order from light to dark. And when you open them in the linearization or the calibration screen, you would just say open measurements. It's going to detect that it's a density range because it's not going from 97 to some other L value. It's going like 0.01 whatever to like 4.0 at the max. So it's like, oh, this is a density file. And it'll just convert that to lab for you. The only thing you're going to not get is the color for the soft proof. So if you only have a densitometer, I would just take a picture with your phone, and it's going to be better than using a manual densitometer and faster. So on the screen here is this negative viewer, right? So we open an image here. Let's say you did want to apply this to your image to print through any other way. We can, is it going to do it? No. Desktop. Cool, let's do it. That's not going to work. Where are my pictures? What's this? It's already a negative. Okay, that's what I'm using. Let's just use the JPEG because I know it's worked on. Okay, so there's uncorrected. So now we need to load the profile. And it applies it to the negative. So we have uncorrected, corrected, the uncorrected soft proof, and the final soft proof. And you would save the negative. And it gives you QuadToneProfiler negative. It should be TDN negative, but here we go. Shared code base. And it gives you format. So you can do 16 or 8-bit, keep it 16, and you save it. So this this just gives you an option. Like if you do want to save a negative to print, you know, if you're sending it to, okay, let's say you're sending this to someplace to make your carbon negatives. You can still do all of your, like you say you want Calvin to make you some image setter negatives or whatever. If you're doing carbon offset, right? Or not carbon offset, carbon transfer. In your calibration window, you can open your measurement file from your cyan layer and go down to your output curve type, put that as a spot color tone value. That will crash on you. That's cool. That's good to know. Oh, it's because there's no measurements. That should give you an idea. Okay, so if there's measurements there, it won't crash. Thought I fixed it. Cool. Let's go back to the other thing here. Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's see. So that's about that was like 30 minutes once I got my act together here. How many? Oh, shoot, stuff's moving around on me. Let me see if I have the other software here. I don't think I do. I think that might be it for today. Oh, shoot, let's see if I can do this. I want to show you the QuadToneRIP version. I just need to pull it over. Okay, any questions while I'm looking around? Just like type those in and then I will look at it in a second. Now it shows up, of course. So I'm going to show you what else is coming. Plus, nope, we want to go to here. Come on, do it. Do it. Yeah, it's just moving stuff. Okay, let me find the chat again. Where'd it go? Yeah, so everything's on sale now. DN version 4 is available on my site now too. It's not on the support site yet. I'm building a, I haven't tested anything on Golden Gate yet. So basically I have two computers. I have my M4 Mini Pro, whatever they call them, that I do all my real stuff on. That's what I'm on now. The development computer has to stay at whatever the latest current operating system is. So not testing on Golden Gate yet. It's gonna be fine. It always is, except for Tahoe. But everything from Tahoe has been fixed in Golden Gate. So I'm gonna probably, when I get back from out west in a couple weeks, I'm going to upgrade, hopefully a new computer to Golden Gate as a new test computer, so I can I'm going to keep them in rotation. So buy some apps. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, please do. But anyway, this is okay. It's a separate app. It's not an upgrade for version 3. Completely new version because of the in-app printing. So it's going to be like an upgrade price. And if you bought it in the last 30 days, yeah, I'm going to send you an email. But this is a paid upgrade for everybody. And that's to support buying new printers and testing. And I've got $200 of paper that I just had sent to me. So yeah, it's going to be a new purchase. There might be some changes to that in the future, but for now it's like a straight new purchase. Okay, let me double check my stuff over here. And okay, so cool. So I'm going to show you the, wait, why didn't I come over? Let's try again. I don't have, so the QuadToneRIP stuff is the same. The thing about QuadToneRIP that makes it kind of cool, and we can just do this from the DN, the Tirage app also, is let's say you do use QuadToneRIP. And let me pop back to my desktop. Okay. Let's throw on a thing here. We're going to do a test target, right? We're going to open a test chart. Oop, wrong one. Cool. We're going to throw on a QuadToneRIP one. Let's go to this 9000. We'll print a negative. Go to printer options, QuadToneRIP. So let's say you have a starter curve. You can calibrate to your starter curve, or if we have the cancel, let's do this. I haven't put in the activation yet, but you can just do this. Linearization, we're going to open it should be here from the workshop. Let's just do this from the example here. Okay, there was measurements from the starter curve. Then you would load your quad file. There's the original quad file. So it's the same thing. It applies the correction curve to the quad. You can smooth your inks. and you save a quad with auto install. Now, if it's going to tell me I can't do it because I haven't bought my own app, or I didn't enter an activation code, but you would save your linearized quad file to the quad folder, and it'll automatically run the install command. Then in your print layout, you don't apply a curve to it, right? Because the curve is in the quad file. So you just open your image. You don't apply a profile, so there's no correction to the image. And then we go to our, let's do the P800. QuadToneRIP. We would choose that from, so now we have a linearized version here. What did I say? There's the 250. So there's my linearized version. And I go print. Now, what makes this kind of cool is, let's say you have a linearized version for Palladium with like 5% Na2, something like that. And then you want to do it on, that was like on Hahnemühle. And now you want to print on a Revere. You use the same linearized curve. So I wouldn't even call this a HPR. It's just Palladium, the starter K blocking value, and the exposure. You print a test target on Revere, double coat it, maybe you need to add a little more exposure for the double coat, and now make your calibration based on that, okay? So we did that. Then we load those measurements here. So we're pretending we're going to open a measurement file from from Revere. Let's do this. Hey, there's a platine. We're going to pretend the waxed version here. Okay. Open that. Okay, so a little bit different of a curve, right? Instead of applying that to the quad values, so we actually, if you were doing this, the old way with QuadToneRIP, we would come back to the quad folder. We would choose a linear one because that's what we saved. That's what these measurements came from, was from the linear version here. Let's do this one. There's the linear version there. Okay. Now we applied that correction curve to the linear version because LIN. And then we install and print that. So now we have 2 quad files, one for each paper. But the new way is you have 1 quad file and you export this curve here. Okay, can't do it. Let's go back to Tirage. But I think you get the idea, right? We're going to apply let's do this. We're going to open that measurement again. You give it a little bit of smoothing because there's like one bump right there. Let's just smooth that out. Okay. So I'm just, check this out. It just leaves the same file name in there. So that's all I'm going to do because that's the curve we use to print it. Save it. Okay. We'll remove this one. Just make it big. And now we apply that platine one. So there's a correct negative. So very little correction now, right? Soft proof it. There we go. Settings, we choose the same one we used when we printed. So that's why I put it in the file name. So it would be that one. See how that works? I know that was fast, but when it's like more of a conceptual thing is you have one curve that you print with, you switch paper, you still only print with one curve, but you've just applied the profile. So let's say you have a big printer. Okay, cancel. Save a big printer. And we're going to make the page size like that. We can have a bunch of different pictures on here. different processes, slightly different processes because we're using the quad thing. You would apply a different profile to each image. So, and now you just print. Yeah. Okay, I did apply it. So you can choose one for each one here. That one, this one gets that one. You get the idea. So we have different curves on each one. Like, this is more maybe for schools, right? Like, I'm trying to think of like how like a school might use this is a bunch of people printing negatives, and one person's printing a little bit differently than another. They can have one profile library with people's names on them and kind of go from there. So I'm going to do that. Let's look here. Is this recorded? Yes. I'm going to maybe edit it and then put it back up so you don't have to see me watch. Well, I have workshops in the fall. I'm traveling a lot in the fall. I'm going to be out west in September, then again out in New Mexico in late October. I might be like the Bay Area, Central Coast, early October. Someone's coming out for a private workshop, and so I might try to tack on another workshop around the first week or so of October, something like that. Anything else here? Cool. So that might be about it for today. I'm getting kind of whooped here. I have some other cool stuff that's in the works. I'm going to do, this is mostly on negatives. That's what most people are here for, except for Tracy, for the positive printing. Let's see if I can. Yeah, let's do it. So here's the new thing I'm working on. So what if you're a color lab? There's no history yet. And you need to do, well, what if you're a color lab? Let's just ask ourselves that and keep it at that. That's coming soon. So we have one for digital negatives, one for printing, and there's gonna be one more for profiling. These bad boys. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be September probably. It's close. I just want to fine tune some things. But you can see my crazy wall over there. I just kind of fixed a bunch of bugs last week, and that's coming soon. All right. I'll kind of leave it there. And yeah, I'm going to do real videos of actually like stepping through these when I'm not frustrated with my computer. So keep an eye out for that. I'm working on the new instructions. Color Lab. If you're a color lab, you make gum. Yeah. Or carbon, or big inkjet prints that you need color profiles for. It's coming. But yeah, I'm just updating the instructions from version 3 to version 4 and adding the inline printing stuff plus the new TDN profiles. So just re-editing some of those instructions and throwing those on a new site. That's the holdup here, is the new website. So that's why it's like early release. I just needed all the software stuff done before I leave because I'm not going to have access to my development computer, but I will have some website stuff. So we're working on that while I'm out in the desert when it's hot. So thanks for everybody hanging out with me. Send me some emails if you need to. The support at QuadToneProfiler.com is where those will go. Or yeah, just do support at QuadToneProfiler. Or through the site, use like the comments through my BW Mastery site. But, or the comment, but you know, the contact me through there. Okay, have a great weekend. Look forward to some new stuff. I'll do one other thing with the positive printing later, but that's like it's a whole other thing. So when I get to that, it's going to be cool. And that's going to kind of change QuadToneRIP forever. No, just joking. It's going to be cool though. So